Okay, let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of your favorite podcast. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Riffin with Griffin. It's Riffin with Griffin. Woo! All right, that's enough. All right. Anyways, we did a quick intro this week. Whatever. I mean, you guys know the intro. It is what it is. It is what it is. Welcome back to Riffin with Griffin. Another week. Another just me, you know. Was gonna have Rachel on, but she went out with her friends. You know? It's weird because I don't know how I feel about it. Because at first I'm the one that was always encouraging her. I said, you gotta go out with your friends. You know what I mean? Like I said, you need some friends. You need, because Rachel was not keeping up with her friends. Like she wouldn't even call them. And I always have to ask her, hey, how are your friends? How's so-and-so? How's what you call it? And then she finally started hanging out with her friends again. One of them, was like, oh, I'm going out with Emily and whatever. And then this one. And so now she's going out all the time with her friends. And I think, it's good. But then I found myself being a little jealous, which I wasn't before. I'm just not a jealous type. But then when you spend so much time with someone for so long, so it's been almost 8 months of quarantine, and I was spending just a lot of time with her, or I knew where she was. It was she's going to work and then she's coming back and she's with me. And then and I wasn't doing anything, but I'm at home and I'm on Twitch 5 hours a day or whatever it is I'm doing. So it wasn't even I was doing anything. And then now I started doing a couple of shows, and now she's going out with her friends, and I'm just kind of oh, it's a different feeling, And of course she loves it. I mean, I think women, not even just women, I just think your partner likes when you're a little jealous. I think a little jealousy is okay. But not when it becomes debilitating, but just to have a healthy, oh, you win, it's when one of your friends does something well. This happens a lot in the entertainment business, especially comedy. I'm coming up with a lot of dudes. I doing open mics or even just even on a bigger scale, let's say. So there's a community at the Comedy Store, and there's all these guys. We're paid regulars. We're at the heart of the lineup every week, and on the weekends, and then you're just waiting to hear about somebody gets a sitcom, somebody gets a show, and you're a little bit damn. You don't feel bad for people. I feel happy for people, and I feel envious in a way. Oh, I wish I was doing that. But at the same time, I use that to push me. There's a scale where it gets too far, then you're it turns into negativity. But there's a little bit of that. It's even when people start podcasts. Some people's podcasts really blow up, and then sometimes other people's podcasts it just doesn't blow up. Or it has a small rise, or whatever it is. I think it's okay to have a healthy little. I think a healthy amount of jealousy is okay. You guys ever go to the Urban Dictionary? Why does shit keep coming on? You ever go to the Urban Dictionary? So I went to the Urban Dictionary. Because there was a word that people keep saying all the time. I always see it in the comments too. They're oh, such and so is a simp, S-I-M-P, and I didn't know what the hell that meant. At first, I thought it was somebody being overly sensitive, sympathetic. You know what I mean? Oh, that person's being too sensitive. But it actually, according to Urban Dictionary, means someone who does way too much for a person they like. I don't know I don't know how I feel about that. You people that are listening and watching right now, is that what you thought a simp was? Someone who does way too much for someone they like. And then they have on the Urban Dictionary, they have a thing that goes, Brian Shue, the simp. I bought her a car and a whole ass house, and we not even dating. Well, I mean, that just sounds crazy. Or you just so rich it don't matter to you. But damn, I was in my. You ever use an Urban Dictionary word the wrong way? In your mind, you thought it was something else. So that's what I said. I thought it was just somebody just being too sympathetic or too sensitive. But this is someone way too much. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I think sometimes they people come up with these words and terms, and it causes a dead end, and there's nowhere to go. And I think that's just a weak way out of not dealing with whatever the circumstances are. I'll give you a perfect example: is mansplaining. Mansplaining is just a complete stop. Mansplaining and another one but I totally get, like, this one is not necessarily what I'm saying, but like gaslighting. When people say that, oh, you're gaslighting me, that's a little different, because I believe that does happen when people act like, oh, I don't know what you were talking. What were you talking about? I didn't know that. That's, but it's like, but when you use gaslighting with mansplaining, it's like, like, I can't stand mansplaining. Is like, when people say that, it's just there's nowhere to go. It's a dead end. Like, you're talking to somebody, a female or a woman or whatever. I even get slack for that. Don't call women females. I don't understand someone's got to explain to me in the comments why female is now bad. It's like women. It's like what you call black people for the last 100 years. You got to keep changing it. It's like colored, Negro, black, African American, all these different terms that each generation we go, okay, now this is okay. I think it's going to be the same thing with women right now. So now female's bad, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, when people say you mansplain, it's like, so like if you're a guy like myself, I talk a lot, I make jokes, I formulate thoughts in my head, and I present them in this way. So, sometimes I think like this, like how I'm doing in a podcast. Like right now, I have to explain to you like what I'm thinking about and why I'm talking about it. So someone could watch it to be like, oh, he's mansplaining. What? It's like, yeah, bitch, fuck you. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm explaining myself. I'm organizing a thought. I'm explaining how I feel about it, and then you look at me and go, oh, you're mansplaining. Okay, so how do you want me to talk? Look, I get it if somebody's being condescending. That's the term you use. Hey, don't talk to me in a condescending manner. But to just say, if a dude is talking to you in a condescending manner and you call that mansplaining, and then someone's not talking to you in a condescending manner, but they're just explaining like, hey, listen, this is what I'm trying to say right now. And then you go, oh, you're mansplaining. Like, then what do we do? How do we talk? Please explain to me how I'm supposed to talk to you. Especially if we're in an argument too. Like if we're having an argument or we're having a disagreement, and you're making your point and I'm making my point, and my point is mansplaining when I'm making my point, and what's your thing? How do we? I don't know. It's just, so that just seems like that's just one of those terms. So I thought that simp was one of these terms too. I guess, I don't know. I was looking at an Urban Dictionary, and there's like a lot of weird words in here. that you just go, what is this? And apparently they come up with some all the time. So like the October trends for Urban Dictionary, watermelon sugar. I don't know what the hell that is. Watermelon sugar. It's sugar from a watermelon. What did you expect? It says. So it means like, what the hell are you talking about? But they have the F word here. What the f are you talking about? Trying not to cuss as much as I normally do, because apparently YouTube's cracking down on that, even though I already did in this episode, right? So I'm trying to catch myself, but I'm not always going to. But that's what watermelon sugar. I don't want to get that. It says, oh shit, I should change the definition then. It's too late. You posted it. Someone is already reading it. That's watermelon sugar. Okay, so I don't get that one. Somebody's gonna have to explain to my old ass what that means. Here's another one. These are the October trending Urban Dictionary. Ghetto spread. It's like debit spread, but you buy the option first, and when your price goes up in the case of a call, or down in the case of a put, you sell. I don't get it. The way, even though you maxed your profits, you eliminate the risk. Ghetto spread. Oh, so I guess you spreading out your. It's like, I don't get this. I don't get the Urban Dictionary. Like, who decides this stuff? So they had this other one that's called. Oh, so this is like October 3rd, word of the day. Thoughts and prayers. I could care less, but one must keep up appearances, right? Yeah, I guess when people say that, that's like pressure from the internet. Like something bad happens, and then you feel yourself having to say something, especially in the last throughout this quarantine. That's been the whole thing too, with all the stuff that has happened, like George Floyd. That's how people are about Black Lives Matter too. I think they just thoughts and prayers for Black Lives Matter, and it just means in the Urban Dictionary that you could really care less, but you got to keep up appearances. Okay, see that one I understand. That one sort of makes sense to me. Um, I don't even understand some of these sorority squat. What is a sorority squat? Typically performed by sorority sisters immediately prior to a picture where one or more participants slightly bend their knees. And okay, so it's just girls taking pictures. I don't know. That's weird. So anyway, that's my weird Urban Dictionary rant. Whatever the hell that means. So Rachel and I went on a double date again the other day with two of our friends that we went on a double date with the other time, Miles and Amanda. But we went to their place. And I really felt like an adult because we were playing a card game. I forgot the name of the game, but it was like, it had all these intricate rules. But once you got into the hang of it, it was like, so you had like number values on them, like, and then you have to have 4 cards. And then you have to put your cards down in 2s. And then you turn them like this each time you put a stack. And if somebody has the same card as you, they could steal your top stack unless you have a wild card or the same card. You can counter them and then you put it in that stack, but then someone else could still take it. So we were playing this card game and I just felt like, man, I felt like one of those, just having a game night. How many people have you do game nights? So it was great, and then the dude Miles, he made some great steak. We had steak fajitas, so he had his little mask on and he went out to his courtyard of his building and, cooked and then, brought the steaks up. And I was like, oh, this was great. And I just really felt like, oh, look at me. I'm doing adult stuff. I'm just I've been such a loner my whole life. I've just dealt with life as even if I have people in my life, I always felt like, well, I'm still going to do things by myself. So it's weird to now that I have this woman in my life and now she's just it's such a us now. It's not like me. So I don't think about oh, I have to do something. I'm always thinking about okay, what are we going to do? Or what's the plan for us? And, so going out with friends and stuff like that, it was really cool. It was really cool. It just reminds me of I just want the world to get back to normal. It's a tough thing. People keep talking about the coronavirus in terms of hey, we got to just keep doing the social distancing and all this. I was on this Zoom call with my girl's family and, one of her uncles, he's really big on the coronavirus is out of control. It's good. It's spreading, but then so you told me to go to John Hopkins website about the coronavirus. So I was like, oh, okay. Cause I asked him how do you get information about this? Because everybody that has strong feelings about the coronavirus, they're talking about it as if they have the particular source that has the correct information. And I maintain that I don't think anyone has the real information. It's so much mistrust in the media right now from us, the consumer, from the people, that there's so much mistrust that how can I know that this place is the place that has the real information? Where are they getting it from? If we can't trust the CDC's website, for disease control, they're the Center for Disease Control. This is the place that is supposed to be the end all be all when it comes to if there's diseases and viruses and stuff. And if we can't trust them, what's to become of us? So, so I go to this John Hopkins, website to look at because people keep talking right now, it's spiking again, it's spiking. So you go to Florida, Florida's the big one, I'm going to go to it now, and I'll probably put up this graph, so I'm gonna go to it right now as I'm talking to you guys on my phone. So John Hopkins has it as the global confirmed, coronavirus cases is 42,926,000 confirmed, global confirmed cases. Then 1 million deaths. And in the U.S. alone, it's 8,635,752. And the U.S. deaths are 225,000. I mean, no one should die. But that number seems right in line, considering that we're on the 8th month of the coronavirus. Let's see, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. Yeah, we're in the 8th month. So you're talking about, let's see, 5 more months. 5 more months, it'll be a year. And what's like the total of number of people that die from like the flu and flu-related illnesses in a calendar year? Is it close to that a number, or is it around that number? I mean, I'm not saying it's the same, but like obviously, what I'm saying is 225,000. Is that the number that we need to decimate our economy and put people out of business forever? Is that the number? Because apparently that's the number. But anyways, my point is, you go to this website, according to him, and you start tracking, because you could, they have this tracking on these websites where you go, all right, so you can go by state, so you go to John Hopkins, you go to tracking, they have like the critical data, right? And so let's say you go, all right, so here we go. So for instance, if I go to, all right, I'm going to go to like California. All right, we've been closed, so they have their little, the thing, the spikes. They show the spikes, restriction, close. So when we closed because we were at a high spike, and now we're back down. Now it's October, and the spike, it's higher than it was, say, when we first started, but it's not as high as it was when it first opened. Okay, so now it's come down, and so, yeah, I wish they would show us like the actual numbers, like the case, so I could like see the numbers. But I mean, as you look at this, you go new deaths. Yeah. So you can like look at this chart, right? So you guys got to go to this website and you look at the chart. But then you go to Florida, so I'm looking at this and I go to Florida, who's been pretty much open, most of the time. And I look at their chart and it looks exactly the same as California. Like it looks like when it spiked when it first opened. And now they're saying, I'm looking at this and I go, well, I don't get it. I don't see, if the charts are exactly the same in two places that have treated it completely different. What are we doing? Does that make sense? Am I making sense to you guys? Maybe people are watching and you're being like, Griffin, you're being stupid. Let me try to explain it again. What I'm saying is, if you have a place that has multiple millions of people, because Florida has a huge population, California has a huge population. So you look at those graphs of like the coronavirus charts, and it shows that there was this huge spike when, stuff started to open up, and then you see the chart, and it seems to be, what I'm saying is Florida, who has pretty much been open, they've been more open than we have, and their chart looks very similar to our chart. So therefore, why aren't we open is what I'm saying. If the chart is going to look exactly the same, why aren't we open? But I guess the other side of it, and I'm just using my, common sense, I'm not a scientist or anything like that. So I'm just talking out my ass right now, but we're just talking about it because I'm sure you guys do the same thing. I'm sure you're like, you go like, because like a lot of people put comments on my podcast and they're just like, oh, don't be stupid. But I'm like, where are you getting your information from? Like, you show me where you're getting your information from. So, I got it from somebody who's very liberal, who is super concerned about the coronavirus, who thinks that, what the states are doing is bad, and this is supposed to show it. But I go to this website and I don't see it. I don't see, if I look at Florida's numbers, because that's the one everybody's always talking about. Everybody's always talking about Florida. Florida, they're terrible. But you look and you go, well, do they have any more cases than we do? It doesn't look like it. Or what I'm saying is the chart seems to be doing the exact same thing. It seems to be that this is like a national thing. Like, all right, what am I trying to say? So like, to me, it would seem that I would want to see, like, let's say when it first started, and then because we weren't being safe, then it started to go like this, right? All right. So at a place, let's say that they were trying to be safe, it shows like in Connecticut or wherever, they show that they closed things down early, so their curve went down. All right. So obviously then, if you had closed earlier, maybe we could have defeated this earlier. Okay, so the places that didn't do that have larger populations, that it's obviously much harder to get people to like not go out and do even just basic everyday stuff. All right, so then that kind of place, you look at California. California, if you look at any chart of California, it started to go up. Then there was this huge uptick, and then it came back down, and now it's going up again, but not like huge, but it's higher than it was when it started, right? So that chart looks like this. It goes up, and then it goes across. I'll show it right there, all right? My point is the California one and the Florida one, they look very similar, but Florida has been open. So for me, I put that together and I go, then why isn't California open? Like, it really ticks me off to hear how, I'm just speaking selfishly as a comedian, as someone whose business is completely shut down, has just been decimated by it. Okay. They're talking about open up theme parks, that the theme park people, what? So Mickey Mouse, so Disneyland can open up, but I can't go do comedy in the Comedy Store parking lot. Really? Explain that to me. Cause I don't understand it. So people are outside in lines. How's that going to work? How many people are they going to allow into the place? Like, are they going to be in the rides? I just don't get how that is possible. So my only explanation is it's about money. Like, what else could it possibly be other than they're losing so much money? It's such a huge corporation that they're putting pressure on the government. So they're like, okay, let's open up theme parks. But the little comedy clubs, and like, you can't do comedy at like on rooftop bars. You can't do comedy in like, there's so many different little places, like the Improv in Hollywood. They have this great outdoor patio in the front of the comedy club where they can sell drinks, and it's like an open area. So we can't do shows right there. I don't understand it. Don't tell me you care about health and safety and you're going to open up Disneyland. Okay? Because that don't make no sense to me. All right? So, but anyways, I would really like to know where people are getting, their COVID information. Show it to me. Like, if you have some website where you go, oh, this is the website. This is the website that I trust. I trust this website 80% or 100% or 50%. Show me, because I'm looking at this stuff that my fiance's uncle is like adamantly about, like, oh, things are not looking well. And I look at this and I go, well, explain it to me, because I don't understand it. So I don't know. So they had the new presidential debate, and man, these two guys are clown faces, man. It was like, I wish they would have just arm wrestled. It would have been better. Like, I didn't get a sense other than like, it was just a lot of mudslinging. I started to think back, is it always like that? Are debates always like that? Is there no moment where they're discussing like, here's my plan and this is why I think my plan will work? These two guys was just like, this one took money, that one doesn't pay his taxes, this one doesn't do that, then they're making these accusations. Just, it seems like you could just say whatever you want willy-nilly. Like Trump is going like, you took money from Russia. He just said it. I wish he would have like had some facts. He could have came there with facts. He's the president. You got the FBI, the CIA, the NSA. You got all these things at your disposal. You have all the records and files. You're the freaking president of the United States. He could have came out and been like, well, according to this investigation done by my, whatever, you took money on this date, and then have Biden explain it. So you say you didn't take money, but this guy's saying that you did. But it wasn't like that. It was just kind of like, you did this, and the other one's like, you did that. And I just thought to myself, man, like, what are you two clown faces doing? And I thought they both made good points. Look, I'm not a Trump guy per se, but I'm not like some crazy liberal either. But one of the points I thought Trump made that I thought was a win for him was when he was talking about minimum wage, man. It's like every state's different. And he's 100% correct, man. Like, I live in California. The cost of living in California is astronomical. The taxes are too high, and the cost of living is so $15 an hour in California is poverty, but it ain't poverty in Alabama. So should it be a national, national minimum wage? No, I thought the guy made a decent point with that. And then, but then I thought it was like, man, I wish they would discuss it like that. But it seems that in politics, politicians can't have a balanced, open discussion going back and forth. And then the things I like Joe Biden said, I think he said this a few times, and I really totally agree with this sentiment is, I'm not just a Democratic president. I'm your president. I'm everybody's president. If he were to win, even the people that don't like me, I'm your president too. That is something that Trump does not, he doesn't come across like that's how he cares. He really does come across like all he cares about is his base. Like, let me make sure I got this base happy, and then we'll see about everyone else. But I really wish that there was more of that on both sides, the saying like, hey, listen, because that's the Democratic system. I mean, to me, it's supposed to be, you have two good candidates that both parties go, we like our guy, and the other party's like, well, we like our guy. They go through this election process, and then whoever wins, the other side's got to go, all right, you got us this time. All right, now let's support this guy and move forward. But that's not what's happening. It's just, the one side doesn't win. They just so fundamentally polar opposite of each other that they can't find a way to work together for the greater good. There seems to be no greater good conversation. So I don't know. And then now the election's coming up, but it seems like there's like record turnout in voting. So I do encourage people to do that. Keep voting, man. Go out and vote. Make yourself known. Make your, this is great. I think the more people that vote, the more people that are involved in the election, the better it is. I mean, if we're so inspired because you absolutely hate Trump, now you're starting to go, oh, I need to come out and vote. Well, good for you. Or if you're people that are like, man, this country is running great right now, I need to go out and make sure my guy stays in, you go out and vote too. Because we've just been too complacent as a nation when it comes to like voting. So hopefully this will, bring a real good positive change in the voting process. But who knows, man? It's like there are some people that feel like if one side wins, it's going to be terrible for everyone, and there's going to be like unrest. And if the other side wins, same kind of thing. I mean, I just don't know. I hope that we can rise above all of this disdain that people have for each other and rise above it and just make this happen. Like, like we could just get back on track. But I just don't feel confident that either is going to be able to keep us on the straight and narrow the way they are going at each other and all these things that you hear about, behind the scenes. But anyways, I ain't trying to, this is already too long with the politics as it is. So let's get to the fun stuff. So Rachel just came home. So even though I tell her I'm doing my podcast, she still has to open the door. It's like, no matter what you're doing, they're just going to come in and like do their thing. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Anyways, so what's going on else in my world right now? Big Brother's heating up for you Big Brother people. I'm not going to go into like big, heavy Big Brother talk right now because it's about to be done. So they got Tyler out. They got Christmas out. So now it's just Cody, Enzo, and Nicole. Those are the three that are left. And you hear the jury, how they're talking about it, and they all think that somebody should make a big move. That's who they're going to like vote for. So I just hope that I hope somebody makes a big move. But at this point right now, I don't know. I don't know. It's like, I just want to see somebody do something that makes everybody go, oh, I can't believe she voted that guy out. But it's about to happen now because here's the thing. Enzo keeps talking about he wants Cody. Like, Enzo's already messed up, in my opinion. He can't win unless he kicks Cody out. Like, that'll be his. Like, if it comes down to the three, he's got to take Nicole. He's got look, because he's just going to come across that he rode Cody's coattails all the way to the end. Cody's won numerous competitions. He's never been on the block. He's going to win if he's sitting in the final two, period. There's just no way he can't win unless because he played a great social game. That's that. Now, if she somehow ends up sitting next to Enzo and she's the reason Cody gets kicked out, how can Enzo beat her? She is now already won, and now she's all-star season. She's made it to at that point she would have made it to the final two. She's the one. She should win over Enzo. Like, what has he even done? He can't win any competitions. Like, I think the guy made a huge mistake. And Cody said something great because he said the last time he won, he came in second place because he was loyal he was loyal to the person to the end, and it cost him. He lost like 5-2. Yeah, because that loyalty, that ain't gonna win you to $500,000. Because the people there are the people that lost. They lost out on $500,000. So they want to see why they lost out on $500,000. They want to see, like, what did you do to get yourself to that final stage? They want to know that you played a solid game, not like just a coattail game. So we'll see. I think that, but like I said, if Enzo decides he has to say he wins head of household and he has the choice to kick Cody out, he should make that choice for his game, because that'll be great for the jury to be like, hey man, I rode all the way and I kicked him out because that's what I needed to do to win. And I think he'll get people's votes, but I don't know. To me, it's Cody's game to lose. And if Nicole can kick Cody out, she'll be a first 2-time winner. Whew. It's exciting. You guys don't care. I'm a big brother guy. Something I don't even know what happened tonight. Like, it came on as I'm recording this right now, but I didn't watch yet. So I'll talk about it next week. Now, here's a new show that I've been watching. This is the first time I've ever. Wait, I got to get my phone too, because I got to make sure I get the people's name right. But this is the first. Well, my chair just went down. So this is the first time I've ever watched The Bachelor or Bachelorette. It's the first time I've ever watched the show. So they got this chick on the show. Her name's Claire, and she's the oldest Bachelorette ever. She's 30. Well, I mean, not to say that this is old, but she's 39. All right, let me ask y'all something. And I know I can't hear the answers, but are we going to be 100 on Riffin with Griffin? Because you know me. I keep shit 100. I'm trying to let's be real. Let's be like, this ain't trying to be mean. This isn't like for any hot take. This just is what it is. She's too old for The Bachelor. For this group of bachelors, by the way. It makes me uncomfortable when I watch it. Like, to me, she needs to have like more distinguished guys, more strong personality men, maybe a dude who's all the way up to 50, 55, who's in, he's a businessman. He's like, hey, I just, like, some of these guys, they're just boys to her. They're like, this 30-year-old is talking about trying to marry her. They have nothing in common, some of them. It's just so bizarre. Some of the guys, I go, yes, this looks like a match. Like, it looks like, okay, this guy has the wherewithal. It's really a testament to her, by the way. It has nothing to do with her, like, because I don't mean that, like, she's too old, like, physically old. I'm saying the match isn't good for some of these guys. Like, some of the guys, they're just like these 30-year-old dudes. They're all these like fratty type guys, or these like athletic dudes, ex-football players and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, what are you doing? And it just seems ridiculous, like how they have it set up. So you have this woman who, like, so insecure. She just exudes insecurities. She's always talking about how men have never treated me like this. And so you're just kind of watching. You're like, well, I mean, are you ready for this experience? Are you ready for all these types of people to come to be in your life? I don't think so. Sometimes, just from watching the show, and then she did this crazy thing where she meets one of the guys. This guy, Dale, right? He's like an ex-football player, a light-skinned black dude, in shape, handsome dude. And she like meets him and she's like, I think I just met my husband. So now for the first 2 episodes, all she doing is talking about him. Like the whole thing is about him. And I go, you're now not even open to all of these relationships that are in front of you. You're doing the thing that you've always done. Going off feeling. Oh, like what feeling? You don't even know this dude. You know nothing about him. You know what I mean? Like you just met the guy. And and even if there's like rumors that they had talked before, but even still, like, what do you know about this guy that you're just going to discount this process of getting to know these other people? Like, it's so crazy. And then there's always going to be a double standard. Let's just be real about this. There is a double standard when it comes to men and women. We don't have the same standard. It's positive and negative on both sides. For instance, she has a dodgeball game with the guys and she makes them play strip dodgeball. So these guys are out. They had to blur the whole thing because dick and balls is obviously just hanging out. Assholes, like just ass. The dudes are, all these hunky in shape dudes are just like, naked. Do you think even for a second, and I never watched the show, so I don't even know if this could have happened for all I know. But I doubt that if you had The Bachelor and he was playing strip anything with the Bachelorettes, making them compete and then get naked for him. I mean, would that be a thing? So I'm looking at this and it just was, the whole thing just made me go like, what are we doing, man? Like, what is this show about? So I don't know. I just feel like this season is going to be a disaster, and it's just, and we're setting up for it. Like, there's just no way that this could possibly work. I don't even know how many bachelorettes marriages have actually lasted, because it seems to me that Big Brother marriages are stronger and more real than these like things that are supposed to be for marriage. Like, I would love to know the numbers of how many bachelorettes in the last 17 years, however many years they've been doing the show, how many of these marriages on the show are actually, are they still together? Are they successful? Because I know a lot of Big Brother marriages are going great. It's because it wasn't about that. They met on the show, and then that shared experience, they left the show, continued, they started to date, and then they realized, oh, wow, and they fell in love and they got married and they have kids. I mean, there's a lot of Big Brother marriages, but the Bachelorette, I don't know. I mean, getting back to the double standard in society too, is like, there is a double standard. So, if the dude was 39, and the women on the show were like 30, would that be okay? I guess that would be okay, but I don't know. Like if these women were like in their early 20s, like late 20s, say late 20s, 30s, and the woman's 39 and the guy was 39, like how would that, would we be more accepting of it? Probably. I mean, look at even my own situation is similar to that. I'm older than Rachel. But it's just, this just comes across like she's being very like mom to these guys. It doesn't come across like they're equals in these situations, other than the ones that and then she's kissing everybody. But I guess that happens on The Bachelor too. So again, that's just that weird double standard that we have about like women aren't allowed to like do the same things that men do. But like, this is like episode 1. She already kissing like episode 1 and 2. She done kissed like 6 people, I think. But at the same time, still talking about this one guy, Dale. Like, she is harping on this guy. And I just go, you already let him know he's the one. So like, it's like, I just don't get it. Like, this show, it's a train wreck. It's a train wreck ready to happen. And I've never watched a Bachelor or Bachelorette before, but I'm telling you right now, you should watch it just to see how uncomfortable it's going to make you feel when you watch her trying to maneuver through, this experience of like, for the first time, how she even says it herself, I've never had these many kind of different personalities and guys, and I'm the center of attention. And she's still like, there was this, oh, this is great. There was this moment where, all right, so she has like a group of them there, and they're all sitting there, and they make a toast, and And then there's like this awkward silence, right? No one says anything, you know? And then one guy, she goes, okay. And then one guy finally goes, hey, I want to spend time with you, and takes her off. Now she's off talking with this guy, and she's just thinking and thinking. She goes, listen, this is really bugging me. I have to go back and talk to everyone. So she goes back. She leaves this guy that finally one of them had the balls to be like, yo, let me go take you on a date, whatever they do on the show. And goes back over and is like, hey, she tells the guys, she goes, do you guys want to spend time with each other, or do you want to spend time with me? Like, do you guys just want to bro out? Because I could just go home. But I really felt like she just wanted the guy. Then Dale steps up and takes her. I really felt like she was like, she should have just came back and said, Dale, how come you didn't step up and say something? Like, it just really was like like the whole show is awkward it's awkward. And I just can't wait to see. And then they keep showing like these previews of like what's going to happen in the season. And it seems like the whole thing blows up. And like the guy says, like, in my 17 years of Big Brother, of The Bachelor, this has never happened. This has never happened before. So, and I'm like so interested, but they got me hooked, man. They got me hooked. So I do suggest to you guys take a look see this chick. And she's beautiful. They go, she's 39, but she's beautiful. But it's like, listen, the part of the thing that gets me too is like these guys that are going for her, because of how society is, it seems to me like it's really like a showcase for them. Because if you're on this show and you're like, all these guys are like in shape and like, ex-football player, this guy's a marketing guy, this guy, like they all have some kind of like thing. There's millions of women at home who are watching The Bachelorette going like, I'll date him. I'm sure these dudes are getting just hit up in their DMs right now, being on the show, just like, hey, if you don't want to get with her, get with me. I'm 25 and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems like there are better matches out there. I just don't think that they picked the right guys for her. It doesn't seem like good matches, and it's only going to make her look bad. Like it's not going to be good for her. That's just my opinion of it. But you guys might have a different opinion. So please hit me up in comments if you're a Bachelorette follower. But you definitely should watch the show. But anyways, guys, next week Rachel will be back, and make sure you watch this Wednesday. I was going to have real world advice for a grown-ass man now, but I started to think, you know what? Maybe I should separate that. So I'm going to see how that goes. So real world advice from a grown-ass man is coming to you on Wednesday, and I'm going to start doing that on Wednesdays, and going to have little, now I'm going to start to have little videos and stuff with Rachel and I, and I'm going to put that on the Patreon and the YouTube members only access. So we're working on that stuff now. So keep a lookout for that, and you just check out my Patreon. All that stuff's in the links in the bios and all that kind of stuff. Short episode this week. I really appreciate you guys watching. I'm going to bring you content every single week. I do have some guests in the works. We'll see. Oh, and some good news is that I don't know if you guys saw the people that follow me regularly and know the whole world, especially you Tiger Belly people that follow me. I went on Steve Lee's podcast, and we straightened everything out, and him and I are real good again. Not that we weren't good, but it's just like a big, huge misunderstanding. And so, him and I are going to start gaming soon. And, he's going to come on my podcast. And I went on his for the 5th time. And it was a really fun episode. It was really, so make sure you check out that episode, Stevie Weeby, the Stevie Weeby Show. It's on YouTube and all the podcasting stuff. You guys can see that stuff there. But anyways, once again, thanks for watching. And again, I also game every single day on Twitch. That's Erik Griffin Gaming. So check that out. Please subscribe, share, and keep watching and keep interacting with me and keep looking out for real world advice from a grown-ass man. I think I want to make an email for it, so like people can send me stuff. I usually do it on Instagram so I can keep it tight. I look at it, I grab the ones I want, and then it just disappears, so I don't feel like I've So if I missed people, it's just gone into the ether, as opposed to like having it build up and then having to keep looking back and back. So I wish I could get to everyone. I try to answer as much of them as I can on my on my Instagram, but you know, it is what it is. I'm just trying to give some friendly advice, and sometimes it helps people even if it's not your question. So make sure you look out for that on Wednesday. And you know, like I say, I'm gonna try to put out more content, and I really appreciate you guys watching Riffin with Griffin, and I'll see you next week.